Never say never. Anything can happen, right? Well, today, I want to apply that to geopolitics and ask, what if nuclear war broke out in 2026? It's raised fears about a larger confrontation and the specter of nuclear weapons. While some believe that a large-scale nuclear war is not likely, others argue that the unthinkable could occur. So here's a scenario where it did. Let's dive into it. Washington, D.C. became a ghost town. Paris was no more. Beijing vanished into nuclear dust. Tokyo was a radioactive wasteland. Pockets of the internet remained functional, preserving fragments of the digital world. Some survivors even discovered caches of pre-war technology, gadgets and devices that once seemed like relics of the past. With ingenuity and resourcefulness, they repaired and repurposed these technological remnants, integrating them into their lives in innovative ways. These survivors became known as the tech-savvy generation, using creative expression as a means of healing and preserving their cultural heritage. Groups of survivors who refused to accept the post-apocalyptic world and sought to restore the past. Some survivors struggled with mental health issues. Humanity, though diminished, endured. The nuclear attacks of 2026 had profound consequences, reshaping every aspect of life on Earth. The idea was that certain governments or wealthy individuals had constructed highly advanced underground facilities stocked. Could there be some greater purpose in the destruction wrought by the nuclear attacks? Maybe this disaster was not random, but part of a grand plan orchestrated by hidden hands. Some whispered of secret societies that had foreseen the coming disaster and taken steps to ensure their own survival. Others spoke of shadowy government agencies that had covertly orchestrated the attacks as part of a sinister plot to reshape the world order, with supplies and shielded from the effects of the nuclear blasts. These bunkers were said to be equipped with state-of-the-art technology, including advanced life support systems, renewable energy sources, and sophisticated security measures. Allegedly, a select few individuals, either by chance or through careful planning, managed to find and access these hidden bunkers. There, they lived out the remainder of the war, surviving comfortably and untouched by the chaos above ground. From the ashes of the old world, a new society emerged, defined by resilience, adaptation, and the indomitable human spirit, grappling with the trauma of the nuclear attacks and the loss of their former lives. The threat of nuclear winter loomed, raising concerns about the long-term effects of the attacks on the environment and the delicate balance of nature. Acts of kindness and compassion became even more meaningful in a world where empathy and connection were vital for survival. Pockets of normalcy emerged with community gatherings, storytelling sessions, and the celebration of life's simple pleasures. Parents shared stories of the world before the attacks, instilling values and traditions in the younger generation, harnessing the power of the past to navigate the challenges of the present. Berlin ceased to exist. India's New Delhi and Mumbai were no more. As countries grappled with the aftermath of the war, alliances shifted and new power structures emerged. Nations that had been spared direct attacks found themselves in positions of influence, mediating between the warring factions and shaping the course of recovery efforts. Some nations emerged as leaders in scientific and technological advancements, providing critical expertise in areas such as medicine and engineering. International organizations played a pivotal role in coordinating relief efforts, providing humanitarian aid, and seeking peaceful resolutions to the conflict. Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, and Buenos Aires turned out. Johannesburg and Cape Town were destroyed. Sydney, Melbourne, and Canberra were blown away, leading to job losses and economic instability. However, amidst the ruins, new opportunities arose. Survivors who possessed specialized skills, such as agriculture or construction, found themselves in high demand. Local markets became hubs of bartering and trade, fostering a sense of community and resilience. Cairo, Dubai, and Jerusalem were annihilated. Lagos and Kinshasa lost all memory of their existence. Agriculture took on renewed importance, with people turning to farming and gardening to grow their own food. Barter systems and local currencies became prevalent as traditional monetary systems collapsed. The scarcity of resources led to a shift in consumption habits, with people valuing practicality and sustainability. The air grew thick with tension and fear, as citizens wondered if their city would be next. If you thought this topic was just for a Cold War thriller movie, think again. The radioactive fallout from the attacks began to take its toll on humanity. Amidst the ruins, tiny green shoots began to push through the debris, symbolizing nature's resilience. As days turned into weeks, survivors started venturing out of their shelters, cautiously exploring the transformed world. They found solace in the small joys: a cool drink of water, a shared meal, the warmth of human connection. Hope flickered, prompting them to rebuild their lives. Amidst the ruin, they salvaged what they could from the wreckage, piecing together homes and communities. The spirit of camaraderie and cooperation flourished as strangers became friends, united in their struggle to survive and rebuild. Survivors emerged from underground shelters, blinking at the unfamiliar sunlight. They knew the stories of the past, the horrors of the nuclear attacks, but also the resilience of the human spirit. As they grew, they adapted to their surroundings, embracing the challenges and finding beauty in the midst of adversity. Life went on, albeit in a shadow of what it once was. Humanity had endured. Their faces were etched with a grim determination, bearing witness to the trauma they had endured. The world looked different now, shrouded in an eerie silence, broken only by the rustle of the wind and the unsettling chirping of insects. Once bustling cities were transformed into desolate landscapes, monuments to a bygone era. Russia launched an attack on Ukraine with tactical battlefield nuclear weapons. The war became a stalemate. But on September 26, 2026, Vladimir Putin stood before his people and announced that he would personally launch a tactical nuclear strike against Kiev. And he did. Minutes later, the United States and its allies retaliated against Russian targets. The entire world watched in suspense as these superpowers traded nuclear strikes. But this isn't just any ordinary nuclear war. We have taken the concept further and imagined what would happen if these attacks were aimed at military targets, but at major cities. But by 2026, Russia had built up its forces and took the opportunity when NATO wasn't ready. That time they went all in with several nukes in quick succession. Thankfully, most of the weapons missed their target due to Ukrainian anti-missile defense systems, but detonated over the Black Sea, causing heavy casualties and radiation leakage across parts of Ukraine, Romania, and Bulgaria. The US and NATO were caught off guard, but retaliated anyway, targeting Russian military infrastructure. This exchange of attacks killed millions and contaminated much of Europe with nuclear fallout. The world was thrown into chaos. Governments collapsed and social order frayed at the edges. In our world, the first half of 2023 has been marked by anxiety over the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Back in 2023, we had a nuclear incident, but only one nuke was used, and only on military targets. In this alternate timeline, the last thing anyone expected was for another nuclear weapon to be deployed. New York was covered in a nuclear cloud. London was wiped off the map. Moscow was turned into radioactive glass. As months passed, a chilling silence descended upon the world. But life finds a way. Years passed, and new generations were born into this post-apocalyptic world. But there were surprises. Despite the devastation, pockets of technological advancement persisted. The nuclear attacks had a profound impact on the global balance of power. The economic landscape was reshaped by the nuclear attacks, triggering a global recession and disrupting international trade. Industries such as energy and manufacturing suffered significant setbacks. Daily life after the nuclear attacks revolved around survival and rebuilding. Survivors formed close-knit communities, relying on each other for support and resources. Amidst the challenges, hope and innovation flourished. Survivors found solace in art, music, and literature. However, the world was not without its shadows. Rumors circulated about pockets of resistance, yet life went on. In the aftermath of the nuclear attacks, rumors of hidden bunkers designed to withstand the apocalypse began to circulate. But the question is, why wouldn't everyone seek shelter in these bunkers? What do you think? What if nuclear war broke out in 2026? Let me know in the comments.